The Vikings defense is in a pretty interesting spot. They've been middle of the road for most of the season, and they've had the benefit of mostly being healthy. Cam Dantzler is really the only guy on the back end that they've lost, and I think that continuity has helped them. With the two safeties playing a lot, Patrick Peterson being healthy, you can tell that communication and them being on the same page is a huge part of why they've been able to have some success this year. And the details stick out to me because you watch them play zone coverage and guys being at different depths in, like, when you watch them play quarters, like they know exactly like what depths to be at on the back end. Where like it's hard to tell which coverage they're playing because like based on the structure of the offense, they're cheating just a little bit to put themselves in the right spots.
Because they go it's why the Bills no man's land, like kind of like that 10, 12-year area because they know
they are never guarding grass. And that's when you see teams that are really good zone defensive teams. They're never guarding grass, and they don't have elite athletes, right? Like Jordan Hicks is on this team, Harrison Smith is on this team, Patrick Peterson's on this team. This isn't 2013. They don't have that many guys that are like these eye-popping players, especially in the back seven, but they're just very smart and they play together very well, and they consistently give teams a hard time because of it. Right. And then you have guys like you just mentioned. I did not expect to rewatch that Bills game and just enjoy the hell out of watching James Lynch, number 92 for the Vikings. I mean, these are these moments when you go back and watch some of these games and it's like, holy shit, who's that guy? Yep. I mean, he made multiple really nice plays against the run. And the Vikings are a team. Dalvin Tomlinson's not playing, which is one of the reasons he's getting more snaps. Yep. But the Vikings play with the lightest boxes in the league. Yep. So you need those front four guys to really take up a lot of gaps and take up a lot of bodies up front. And he was doing that for them. And it's just so fun to see guys like that step up to the moment, have their little flourishes when they get their chance. And that's what this Vikings team has been this year. It's just guys doing little things pretty well. And I think that's allowed them to excel, even if they don't have any really elite players outside of the guys that they have up front.
Yeah, and it's cool how this is guys taking advantage of the matchups they're given because, again, I think this Vikings coaching staff on the defensive side really puts these guys in good spots because you'll see a lot of slanting of these guys or guys exchanging gaps, whether linebackers or defensive linemen, based on, you can tell, formation looks. He had a great play. Lynch had a great tackle, or really, he didn't make the tackle, but he disrupted into the backfield. He slanted all the way over to the B gap and pushed the guard into the backfield and allowed someone else to make a TFL on a run play against the.
Yes.
And it was
like a 3-yard loss. It was a huge play.
And it was just, he took advantage of what they were doing. They're causing disruption, but he has to take advantage of that. And he was able to do so. He's only 23 and he's in his third year, which is pretty remarkable for a
didn't get a lot of running. I think he played like 300 total snaps last year. And that's why it's cool to see when a new staff comes in, some of these guys, when they get an opportunity, are they playing a little bit better? I mean, Ed Donatel is considered like one of the best defensive backs coaches in the entire NFL. When you think about what he's done at all these different stops, and now he's getting his chance as a coordinator. And I think this team is really well coached. You know who they remind me of a little bit? The Bengals.
Yeah.
Where they don't have many elite players, especially, but really smart veteran DBs. And then your real difference maker is up front with Z and Danielle Hunter. And those are the guys that can really change the game. And that's kind of how Trey Hendrickson felt last year. They don't do as much crazy shit on the back end. Like, it's very by the book Fangio stuff. Like, we're running quarters, we're running six, we're doing this. It's all
we're
like
running this and we're going to read it out perfectly. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. Yes.
But the baseline reasons that they can excel as a defense, I think, are very similar. And if you look at what the 2021 Bengals were, they were like 17th in defensive DVOA. Like, you don't have to be a dominant ass kicking unit every single week to still be a group that can contain an offense for 3 games in the playoffs, or you have a couple moments where it's like, all right, we can put a game plan together for one single week. So I was really encouraged watching them. How are you feeling about Dallas right now?
I'm feeling actually pretty optimistic about them. I just tweeted this. Yeah. I'm such a sucker for this offense, and I will be forever.
I know you are.
I can't get away from it. And I'm just, it's not perfect. The offense is not perfect. Like, there are the first interception that Dak threw into the end zone, 2 guys are running the same route. And, that
happened a couple times in that game.
It did. And also the other pick, it was the second to last drive in the first half. They ran a 989 concept. CeeDee Lamb is reading the route. That 8 route is either a dig or a post. The Packers ran a nice little funky changeup. They ran a 3 deep cover 2. And CeeDee, you could tell, he hesitates just slightly. He ends up reading it right. He goes, oh, this is this is Tampa too, but just with the safety in the middle. So he ends up going deep. Dak sees it and goes, oh, single high. There's a safety right in front of me. And so he tries to rip a dig. And they're trying to play fast. And that's what happens when you read routes. That's why I've never been a huge fan of route reading. 989 is an exception because it's a great play. It's a perfect play. It's so simple and perfect. But that's where the downside of that is. Having said that, this offense is fun, man. Like I'm just a sucker for it. I really am. They're throwing we wanted to see more of those easy buttons with Dak back, and they're hitting them. I saw some RPOs in this game. They ran a power play with double slants. They hit CeeDee on. They had a smoke throw to Michael Gallup. They're running Dak more. I know they had a couple QB sneaks in this game, but the fact they're using Dak on QB sneaks was something they weren't doing last year. They kind of got away from it because he was injured. And I understand why. He had 9 designed rushes, Dak did, in all of 2021. He has 8 already in 4 games in 2022. So that's another easy button they can hit, especially in short yardage. They have fun wrinkles every single game. Against the Bears, they did the 0-3 personnel with 3 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb in the backfield. That seems gimmicky, but also I've thought about it more and more. I wrote about it in my Rewind article. That was when Zeke got hurt, and they were going to give Pollard a bunch of touches, and they did that game. That was a way to get Pollard a break. So they had no running backs on the field. Pollard just took a break for the entire drive, so he was able to catch his breath. And I was like, that's a fun, creative way to do that. They went tempo. I think they're doing a great job of using tempo. They caught the Packers a couple times, including, if you watch it all 22, you can see Matt LaFleur about 10 yards onto the field yelling out to the ref as the ball play is going, which was hilarious. Like, just stuff like that. They had the gadget plays in the red zone. Like the run game's really good. I love what they're doing in the run game, and they're having guys step up. That when we were talking in August, we were previewing some of these playoff teams and offenses. We kind of like, oh man, I was optimistic, and then as we talked, I kind of became more pessimistic about the Cowboys.
I was just pessimistic.
Yeah, and I kind of like met you in the middle. And Tyler Smith is a bona fide starting left tackle in this league, and I think is going to be a very, very good one. He already looks above average to good as a rookie left tackle, which
especially in the run game.
Oh my God. And he's so athletic and he's strong. His hands have gotten so much better at staying inside. He finishes. He's smart. I could tell he understands what's going on. I think they're very well coached. They also Jake Ferguson, go Badgers. That's letting them go into 12 personnel, which I really like. That is always the best version of this Cowboys offense, is when they can sprinkle in that 12 personnel, because their run game's so good out of it and the play action game's so good out of it. I'm really liking
last year when they were the splits last year before and after some of their tight end injuries, when they were running the ball in a 12 personnel, where it was night and day. And so
it was the week after we brought it up too.
Yes,
like, man, their 12 personnel is so good, and then Blake Jarwin gets hurt.
Mentioning their run game, looking back at what the Vikings were last week, and then what they're going to have to play against this week with Dallas. The one area where the Bills really got after them on the ground was with perimeter runs. They gashed the Vikings defense last week on perimeter runs. And even if they're competent at stopping the run out of these light boxes, I guarantee you the Cowboys are sitting there saying, all right, we are going to try to run the ball down your throat if you're going to play like this. We're going to force you to stop the run out of those light boxes with us in those 12 personnel looks, or even running it out of 11. So that, to me, if I'm talking about where the Cowboys need to succeed and what the Vikings have to be most worried about, it's the Cowboys trying to grind them down when they're in those light box looks.
Yep. It's a pound and shot game.